Hey, 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 welcome to AAA Wednesday, which is my weekly Ask Alyssa Anything series, where I'm responding to questions you left in the comments about the publishing industry and how to write a better book. It's also a way for me to say thank you to my amazing community of subscribers. I truly couldn't have built this channel without you, and your support and engagement truly means everything to me. Before we get into the questions today, 2 little pieces of housekeeping. Number 1, if you're new here and you haven't joined this amazing community that I keep talking about, what are you waiting for? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I promise you won't regret it. In addition to these AMA sessions, I publish weekly videos either with deep dives into the book publishing industry, or I give tactical tips on how to strengthen your manuscript. Second piece of housekeeping is to hit that thumbs up button. It's such a small thing, but it really does help out my channel, so I would really appreciate it. We have some great questions today, so let's dive in. I've received around 15 to 20 rejections, with some assumed/timed out. It's not the number that concerns me, since I did get 4 requests, but it's the rate at which rejections flooded in. Rejection every week, not even counting the no responses. I'd be happy with the requests, but it's 4 and I've queried 50. Is it time to reassess since so many agents seem to so quickly pass on it? Agent responses can be so tricky to navigate, especially when you receive a rejection almost immediately. It can make you question if you did something wrong to make the agent respond that quickly and negatively. Now, if you are in the position of getting rejections very quickly and very consistently, and they are all form rejections, meaning there's no personalized aspect to the rejection, the agent just says something vague like, I didn't connect with the idea, or the pages didn't pull me in, then that's a position I would say it's possible agents are not getting past your query letter, and there's an opportunity to make the blurb section of your query letter a bit more enticing. It wouldn't hurt to also look at your sample pages and make sure that you really are drawing the reader/agent into the action, you're establishing high stakes, and you're creating a propulsive story that makes them want to read more. Those are 2 of the most important elements of your query package: the blurb that you use to describe the book and the sample pages. Some agents read the blurb and then the sample pages, others go straight to the sample pages. So when you're getting a bunch of rejections quickly with no feedback, I always recommend revisiting your query package, especially those 2 elements. However, you are in the particular position of receiving 4 full requests. And you said that 4 full requests on 50 queries doesn't feel like a lot, which I totally understand. Statistically, that's what? Around 8%. But honestly, that is a pretty encouraging sign. Many authors query many dozens of agents and don't get any full requests. So the fact that 4 agents have read your sample pages and then wanted to read more tells me that something actually is working about your query letter and your sample pages. And frankly, you don't necessarily need to change anything if you are already getting bites from qualified agents. Querying really just is a numbers game. And at 50, you have queried substantially, but if it doesn't pan out with these agents who requested the full, there are definitely still more agents you could query. So I wouldn't fret just yet. Listen to the feedback that you get if those agents who have the full manuscripts give you a rejection and tell you why. That will be very helpful as you figure out what to do next, especially if several agents reject the full manuscript and they have similar feedback, in which case it could behoove you to revisit the manuscript and possibly revise it for the next batch of queries. Before we get into the next question, I wanted to let you know about a free resource I created specifically for my YouTube community. It's called my Story Self-Assessment Worksheet, and it's a free way to workshop your story with yourself and figure out what is not working quite well and where you can improve on the next draft. I know how hard that can be to see in your own work, which is why I created the resource. Downloading that is going to sign you up for my newsletter, where I publish exclusive interviews with publishing industry insiders and successfully published authors, and I don't want you to miss out on all of their amazing tips. If you want to go straight to the newsletter, the link is also in the description. Here's the next question. Did you see the mess on Twitter the other day because an agent shared their process with queries and how they choose the projects they represent? I saw a lot of people upset, saying that authors are not the agent's personal libraries, and that instead of looking for books they resonate with, they should look more at the market and the sales potential a book might have. What do you think of that? So a few weeks ago, there was a bit of a firestorm on publishing Twitter, as sometimes there is, in response to an agent making a comment about how they select the clients that they want to work with. Now, admittedly, what I saw on my feed was really more of the responses to what this agent said. I'm not sure I even saw the original tweet, so I can't speak to the language that the agent actually used. The overall gist of what I was gathering from the responses from authors who were frustrated with what the agent said about their evaluation process is that they felt the agent was expressing that they only want to represent authors whose stories personally resonate with them on some level, implying that they will respond most positively to stories that have characters reflective of themselves, thus erasing potentially the possibility for working with an author who is bringing a totally different perspective to the table, maybe something that the agent is totally unfamiliar with, but which has strong sales and commercial potential. Again, I don't know that I saw the original agent's tweet, so I'm really not trying to put words in anyone's mouth, but those were the responses I was seeing. These comments were coming from authors from marginalized, underrepresented communities in the publishing industry, and their concerns were that if this attitude that the agent was expressing, needing that personal connection to the story, is widespread across the industry, then that could limit the types of books that get published. This goes into a bigger problem in the publishing industry, which is diversity among publishing professionals. By and large, people who work at publishing houses, particularly in the editorial departments and literary agents, are upper class and white. So if those professionals are not actively seeking out stories from authors who are not from backgrounds like themselves, then that creates a situation in which the stories that are getting published are homogenous and all look the same and all appeal to people who are like the people in the publishing industry. That's why authors who were contributing to this Twitter conversation were saying that agents should look at the query also objectively as much as they can and see that, yes, there is a strong audience for this type of book. Maybe it's not a book I would immediately gravitate to, but it's a book that has a lot of sales potential and I should consider it. From my understanding, that's what they were calling for. That's what they were hoping for agents to do in evaluating queries. And I totally see why. There is some subjectivity in any curatorial role, which is the case for literary agents and which is the case for editors at publishing houses, but they do need to find a way, I think, to balance their subjective tastes and their own personal editorial capacity with a more objective lens where they see the potential in a story, even if maybe it's not something they would personally pick up. I hope you enjoyed today's session, and if you have a question you'd like to ask, drop it in the comments here and it will be added to my queue. Before you head out, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button if you enjoyed the questions today. Hit that subscribe button to join this amazing community. And don't forget your free story self-assessment worksheet and my newsletter link in the description below. Thanks so much for watching and happy writing.